Welcome to Encounter Wargaming, I'm Jay, and today I'm going to show you a very quick and easy way to paint the Gaslands vehicles that we converted up last week. So let's check it out. So your first step is to pick your base color. Now I've got my two cars here. Obviously they're totally primed black. I did that between last week's video and this video. And basically, like I say, you want to pick your base color. So most cars are, the majority of the car is one solid color, right? And then you've got all the extra chrome details and what have you. So yeah, basically you can do any color you want. You can paint every single car a different color if you want to. Hell, you can even paint one car multiple colors if you really want to. Like they've mixed and matched pieces. But for my team, I've decided on Vallejo's heavy green game color. So I've used this for all of my cars so far. I'm going to use it for these two cars too, because I really want them to look sort of like that military camo. I'm not going to do a camo pattern on them, but I want that sort of color. You know what I mean? That military green army jeep color. So basically, we're just going to start by base coating. So I actually realized I didn't have my brush. Kind of need that if I'm going to paint. Start by putting a little bit on my palette here, just a small drop. And now, what you can do, since you're going to be putting a whole bunch of other colors on, is you could just paint the entire car the one green color, or red or blue, or whatever you've chosen. But you don't want to put too many layers of paint. I mean, I've already got a layer of primer on here. It probably wouldn't hurt to have a few extra layers of paint, considering these guys, like that weird die-cast metal that has like a glossy finish, so it's not exactly immune to chipping, if you know what I mean. But I don't want to put too many layers of paint on. I don't want to kill any detail or anything like that. So basically, I'm just going to choose what areas I want green and kind of just paint those, but at the same time not worrying if I go outside the lines. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think I basically want what was green plastic on this guy before to now be green. So it looks like I've got my base color basically where I want it. I'm just going to give it one final look just to make sure. Cool. And so I'm just going to have to wait for this paint to dry and then we'll go on to the next colors. Alright, so for my next base color, of course, it's going to be silver. So I've chosen chainmail silver, again by Vallejo. And basically I'm just going to paint the undercarriage, all of the chrome pieces, hubcaps, probably guns, a weird smoke launcher thing, and then on this guy I've even decided to do this weird like frame part in metallic. And like I say, just right out of the pot works fine. I absolutely love Vallejo's metallics. I hadn't used them until just this past year, and I know, that's crazy, right? Like, what? You've never used Vallejo? But honestly, these beat the crap out of Citadel, I have to say, and they just cover better, they go on way better, and you don't have to thin them at all. You just basically take them right out of the bottle and right onto your miniature, and it creates a nice, beautiful silver. So I'm just going to go around and paint all of the areas I think should be silver, and I guess I don't need to blower on you guys, so why don't you watch me in high speed. There it is. So we're going to let those dry and then hit them with a nice wash. Alright, now that our base colors are on, we're just going to hit it with some good old-fashioned Nuln Oil. This is the ultimate shade for everything. Basically, it just makes everything nice and defined. Shows all the details. You guys know how it works. If you don't know how it works, basically, you just take it right out of the bottle and just cover your entire model in it. It is literally that easy. And all it does is it flows down nicely into all the cracks and just brings out all of the nice details. Now, of course, be careful, guys. I'm sure you see a lot of pictures on social media of people spilling their Nuln Oil, or any other wash for that matter. So, if you're going to work with the cap open, just be careful. Keep it away from your hands, and you shouldn't knock it over. And yeah, I mean, that's literally it. I'm basically just stabbing the model with the brush, trying to get it to spread evenly around. You want to make sure you don't get any pooling, because that will, well, it just looks bad. I mean, for lack of a better explanation. because we're not going to really do a whole lot of highlighting or anything on these. We want them to look very drab and post-apocalyptic, so basically I'm just going to wash all of them with black, and we're going to use some more, well, just one more other wash to make some other details. So I'm just going to go crazy and finish coating these in Nuln Oil. Alright, our next step, now that our black wash is dry, is just to hit them with a little bit of Seraphim Sepia. Now this is just going to add a little, like, sort of rusty oxidation kind of situation. I guess weather stained. And because I've done these such a dark color, I actually noticed when I did my other ones that this sepia doesn't really show up much on the green, but if you did your car like a yellow or a red or an orange, then this will definitely show up. So in this case, I'm actually going to focus more on the silver bits, and I don't want to cover them completely. I just want to kind of hit areas like that. Just arbitrarily throw it around. You know what I mean? You don't have to do anything special, and in fact, the more random it is, the better it'll look. So you can see there, it's just got a nice little tarnished look now. And this is probably the easiest way to weather things. The next technique I'm going to show you is probably even easier and more effective, but this in combination with the sponge technique that I'm going to show you in the next clip is just going to make these things look absolutely amazing with pretty much no effort at all. Or I shouldn't say none, but very little effort. Because honestly, that's all it takes. And there you go, that guy's got some nice little tarnished spots. I'm going to do the same thing on this big bad boy right here. Get a little bit of the front, maybe a little bit on the Gatling gun there. I'm almost out of sepia, so I'm just trying to use the last of it here. Maybe throw a little bit on that, a little bit on the pipe here. Again, if there's areas that I think look silly, just straight silver, then, you know, I can even hit those. And like I say, you can cover the silver completely, I guess, if you really wanted to get that really tarnished look. But I want to leave some areas of silver, you know, because it's not going to be 100% tarnished, right? And then I just noticed some pooling on this guy over here, actually. So if you do notice too much pooling, just hit it again with your brush. Like there's a little bit in the crevices of these triangles here. I don't want any pooling because I don't want it to look like it's liquid. I just want it to look like it's tarnished metal, right? So I just want to hit maybe a final dab on this little weird thing here. Oh, that was, see, like I was saying, that's way too much. So again, I can just sort of take it out of my brush and just kind of hit it like that. Now I should probably do that on a paper towel, but honestly, this is a spare piece of foam core, and I don't really care because it's probably going to turn into a drain piece after I'm done using it as a table. So anyway, that's that. It's just that simple. So now I'm going to leave these for, you know, maybe a half hour or so to dry. Probably only take 15 minutes, but, you know, I'm going to take a little dinner break, and then, yeah, I'll show you the sponge technique. Sweet, so we got our washes on, and the next step, you guys are going to be blown away by this. Now, this is a simple technique that I'm sure a lot of you out there have done. For those of you who haven't seen it, this blew my freaking mind when I first did this. Here I've just got a little piece of your standard black foam that we use for our figure cases and stuff like that. You don't have to rip out your figure cases. Like usually with a pluck foam case, you're pulling all the stuff out anyway. But I also get these crappy brushes at the dollar store. They are exactly the same type of foam. And you can rip pieces off that too if you really wanted to. Yeah, and you get like a massive pack of them for $1, so no worries. But I actually got a massive roll of this foam a while back, so I've got enough to last me an eternity. But anyway, just taking a little piece of this foam, and we're literally going to sponge paint these. Remember back in the 90s when everyone was sponge painting their homes and stuff? Well, basically in this case, we're just going to try and simulate chipping, streaks, yeah, I don't know, bullet ricochets and stuff on the vehicles. So to start with, I'm going to use the same silver that I painted all the silver bits, Chainmail Silver by Vallejo Game Color. And I'm just going to put a little bit on my paper towel here, because what we're going to do is just take our sponge, pick one of the points. I like to use a point because that way you can get very succinct and pinpointed with it, or you can just like use the broad end to create dots over large areas. And basically I'm just going to get this thing all covered in silver and dab it out until I'm at the point where not much is coming off on the paper towel. Kind of like dry brushing, you know, where you brush it out to the point where there's not a whole lot coming off. That's basically what I want to do with this too. And I like to dip it in a few times, get the thing kind of actually soaked in the color that you're using, because then that way, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, you can just try and keep it going for quite a bit, even though, like you can see, it's not really doing much there. I'm going to show you on the Jeep first, just to make it quick and easy, or more visible to you guys. If I use the broad area on the long corners, and I just kind of hit it very, very softly like that, I can just go all the way along the side of the vehicle here. And if you can see, it's just created nice chipping. It's literally that simple to make awesome looking weathering. And I'm going to show you guys a couple more colors we're going to be doing this with. We're not going to just use metal, but the first step I like to take is metal, because usually what happens with a car, in this case when it oxidizes, is that the paint chips off, therefore exposing the metal underneath the paint. And of course, over time, with water and you know, rain, whatever, it starts to rust, and that's when you get oxidization, especially around the tires and stuff like that. So I just kind of want to be haphazard with it, but also kind of be a little controlled with it, to the point where you're putting it where you want it to be, but also don't be so succinct, so pinpointed with it that it looks fake. I don't know how else to put it than that. So I like to go very quickly all around the model, and literally that's just how long it took. Not really much time at all. And this other one, since it's mostly silver already, I'm just going to use what's left of my silver here on my paper towel, and just bam, 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 hit it up in a couple spots, especially on the edges, especially areas around tires, like I was just saying. More so on the top and front facings, and then the sides and the back, but of course try and get everywhere. And it's okay if you even go on your metal, because like I say, we've tarnished it with the washes, but actually putting this back on top again just adds a nice natural sort of effect to the original effect of the washes. And that's it. I mean, really, that's how easy that is. And you look at that guy, he already looks all nice and chipped up, especially on the front there. Now I'm going to paint the windows. I'll show you guys that after, but that's basically it. So we're going to keep going on the sponge, but we're going to move on to the next color. Alright, the next two colors I'm going to use are basically going to be to simulate rust. That was to show off the metal, that would be the paint chipped off. Now that the paint is chipped off, I'm going to make it look like rust in certain areas. So I like to start with Doom Bowl Brown, because it's that nice sort of reddish brown. It's just, I mean, really, when you look at that color, especially against a white backdrop, like, it's rust, right? There's no denying that. So basically, same thing, I'm just putting a little on my palette here, dabbing this thing out until it's not leaving any large spots anymore. I don't want to get any large streaks on my models. As you can see, the entire thing is saturated in the color, but when I pat it out like that, it's not actually leaving all that much. In fact, I think I patted it out a little too much. So let's just add a little bit more. You know, experiment with it, guys. Get creative. I mean, I can't tell you the exact right amount of paint to use, the exact right amount of finger pressure to put on it or anything. I mean, really, the stuff you're just going to have to figure out on your own. But you really can't go wrong with this technique. I mean, it's idiot-proof. So I am going to now focus on the areas I've already put a lot of silver. So there I had some along the top edge and some along the hood there. And I'm going, obviously, not nearly as heavy with this one as I did with the silver, because I still want the silver to be able to show through. I don't want to completely cover up the green with all the extra colors that I'm going to do now. And I want to go in areas where you would sort of think a car would rust, so especially around the wheel wells, at the bottom of the doors, like I say, the roof. Alright, so now we're just going to finish it off with some Troll Slayer Orange. And yeah, just keep doing the same thing, dabbing it out on my paper towel. And now, this time, I actually want to do even less of this, so I've done, you know, a lot of silver, a little bit of the Doom Bowl Brown, and then even less of the orange. And in fact, in this case, with the Doom Bowl Brown, I wasn't as careful about where I put it, because obviously there's going to be a lot more silver bits than there is rusted bits. Like, there's going to be silver bits that aren't rusted, as well as the rust is only going to be where the metal's exposed, basically. I mean, for the most part, anyway. This color is actually just to bring the rust up another level. So I only want to put this where I've put my Doombolt Brown, basically. And you don't have to be exact with it. I mean, if a little bit gets beyond to the point, I mean, really, your eye is not going to be able to tell. But here, if I just hit that area, you see there? It literally just made it come up that next level compared to the red there. Got the little bit of orange on there. Try not to get too much glare on it for you guys so you can actually kind of see it. I hope you can see that. And, oh, looks like a piece just fell off. I'll have to crazy glue that back on between frames, but I'm just going to keep going here. And, yeah, just basically hit all the areas where the Doombolt Brown is. Now that our cars are nice and weathered, the metal's tarnished, they're all nice and washed, I mean, really, that's pretty much it, you guys. At this point now, we're just going to basically do details. So the couple of details that I have been doing on this team, so I'm obviously going to keep these cars consistent with the other cars I've done, is basically obviously the windows. I'll show you guys a very quick and easy way to make those windows look like they're kind of shimmering a bit. And then of course I'm going to paint the tires black. So I'm going to start by painting the windows. I'm going to show you guys a very quick and easy way to paint some awesome looking windows, and I'm going to start with Cantor Blue. I like to use blue for my glass. You can use green, you can use purple, you can even do shades of like blacks and grays if you really want to. But I like blue. I don't know why. I guess blue is my favorite color, but I mean, that just feels like glass to me, like tinted glass. Should be bluish purple, you know. Plus, I just really like the look of blue, and it's a super easy color to paint. So basically, I'm just going to base coat all of the window areas of both of these vehicles with my Cantor Blue. Now, I've got my windows painted Cantor Blue. I'm just going to do some quick layering here. You can get as complicated or as simple with this as you want. You can do as many layers as you want. I generally like to do 3 to 5 layers for something like this, because we want a gradual sort of fade from the dark blue to a very extreme light blue. And so I like to use, like I say, a very vibrant blue. So I'm going with Caldor Sky as my sort of medium shade. So if I were to go 5 shades, this is number 1, this is number 3, and then I'm going to use Ice Blue, which is actually now called Lathern Blue, as my final. And then the 4th and the 2nd will obviously be the in-between. Excuse me. So, just take some Caldor Sky. I took out a little bit more Cantor Blue there, and I'm going to basically do like a 50-50 mix. Like I say, you can mix as many layers, as many variations as you want, and that's just simply a matter. I'm going to just show you guys quickly. I've taken the Cantor Blue there and the Caldor Sky here and sort of mixing them in between. And if you kind of do that across, you kind of get a dark blue, a medium blue, and a lighter blue, right? All in the same mix. And that keeps them sort of, what's the word I want to use, within range of each other. It sort of keeps them all blending very easily from one color to the next, because even though these are all blue, they are very different shades of blue. So we want them to be as seamless as possible. Again, if people can see your layers, who cares? I mean, honestly, we can't all be, you know, we can't all be pros, right? I'm trying to show you guys how to do this as simple as possible, as quickly as possible, and still make them look dope. So, what I like to do, especially with windows, is to kind of shine them in the light. And you can kind of see, especially on curved windows like this, where the light hits. And no matter which way you turn it, the light still kind of hits it in that same sort of general, now in this case it's going to be forward-back sort of direction, and very much so mostly in the middle. So I'm going to basically focus on the edges of the curve, working up towards the middle of the curve. And then on these straight ones at the back, when I shine it in the light, I can actually see it's hitting, if you can see here, it's not really a triangle shape, but it's kind of a small end of the triangle and a big end of the triangle. So when I shine it in the light, I'm seeing it's really hitting the big end of the triangle a lot more. So I want to focus the lighter colors on that half of the window, leaving the the back half dark. I hope you guys can see that well on the camera. Either way, I hope you're understanding what I'm saying, even if you can't see it very well. So, there we go. There's that. Now for the square ones, if you guys remember, I guess it was a couple months ago, not too long ago, Adam did a tutorial on gemstones. And so for windows, you kind of want to approach it with the same kind of idea. Like you said, the light goes in the top, and then it kind of reflects out the bottom. Now, of course, this isn't a gemstone or a prism or anything like that, but the same kind of rules apply when it comes to shiny, light-refracting glass substances, for lack of a better term. And so you can either do the light quite a bit. I like to do kind of a curve on the square. I don't know how to say it other than to show you. So you can either do the top very highlighted or the bottom very highlighted, and really, I don't know which one is actually going to be more realistic, but I don't know. A few of my cars I did the top, a few of my cars I did the bottom, so it really doesn't matter. In this case, I'm going to focus up towards the top. So like I say, I'm just going to create a curve from this corner of the square to that corner of the square, just like that, and just fill in that corner. Now, it's a very subtle transition from there to there, but I hope you guys can see it on camera quite well. I can see it with my eyes quite well. And, like I say, the more mixes, the more in-between layers that you do, the less obvious the lines between those shades will become. Yeah, so I'm just going to keep going on this. There's only a couple of windows on this guy, really not that much. And, like I say, this is kind of the final details. Now, what I also want to do, though, is on my vehicles at least... Oh man, that stupid drill broke again. I'll fix it later. Anyway, on my vehicles at least, what I've done is I've done my lights blue and my rear lights red. The only reason I did the lights blue is because I wanted my cars sort of to... I know they should look like they're in action, but I guess they're kind of off at the moment when I'm displaying them. Do you know what I'm saying? So I wanted them to look like they weren't actually shining. There wasn't actually light effects. If you're good at light effects, you have an airbrush, or you want to do something cool with lighting effects, go for it, guys. But like I say, in this tutorial, I'm just trying to make it easy. I'm trying to make it very basic, very simple. We're trying to make these things look quick, look really good, even though we painted them very quickly. And there you go. So that's all that color done. So, like I said, I'm going to be doing 5 layers. So here I've got the in-between Cantor and Calidor. I'm just going to go straight Calidor now. And, in fact, if you want these transitions to look even better, you can just add a little bit of water to your paint. I mean, I know you kind of should anyway, but a lot of the time I paint right out of the pot. I don't care. I mean, really. You got to be very anal. I hate people when they say never take paint right out of the pot, because quite frankly, you can take paint right out of the pot quite often and you're totally in the safe zone. So anyway, that's just me though. Like I told you, I'm going to do basically 5 layers. So right now, I've got the Cantor Blue, I've got the mix, and then I've got the Calidor Sky. And like I say, you can kind of see them, but when we're done with this, we're going to put on some gloss varnish, and it's going to actually have a natural shine, which will hide a lot of our crimes in later stages. So just be careful with it. I mean, you don't have to be too precise with it, but just make sure not to get it on the other areas that you've already painted, like your nice rust weathering and your beautiful, in this case, green paint job. Alright, yep. Cool. That corner's done. Moving on to the next one. Excellent. As you can see, guys, I'm just getting smaller and smaller every time. I'm kind of doing like circular triangles in the corners, just slowly getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And so that's the 3rd layer. Like I say, I'm going to do 5, so my next mix, as soon as I'm done this guy, there we go, it's just that quick, I am going to mix in a little bit of this Lothern Blue. So I'm just going to wash my brush out just to be safe, because of course you don't want paint drying up in your brush. It ruins your bristles. And I'm just going to take, oh, I got to mix this up a bit. So take a little bit of this, throw it right here on my palette, and mix them together in a good amount. I mean, I had quite a few of the Kaldor Sky, or quite a bit of the Kaldor Sky, I should say, left on my palette. And I think I'm actually just going to add a little bit more, make it a little bit darker than that, but quite a bit lighter than just the Kaldor by itself, right? And same situation, I am just going to paint an even smaller triangle into these square windows. And of course I'm just going to finish it off with the final touch of Lothern Blue. So I'm not going to keep talking once again, guys. You guys can just watch me finish this off. You know what you're doing at this point. There we go. And actually, what I noticed is that while I was in such a hurry to show you guys how to paint the glass, I didn't paint the headlights on my Jeep here. So luckily, like I said, I still have my various blues wet, and like I said, I am painting this the same color as the windows, just because I want the lights to look like they're just off right now and just straight clear glass, even though clearly it's blue, but I want it to look like clear glass. What is blue, the eye will assume, is clear. And I've just painted it nerdy. There we go. I actually don't think this little guy has headlights. Sure doesn't. That makes my life super easy. And this is just like the gemstone tutorial, guys, that Adam did, like I say, a few weeks back. Basically, you're working with a few different colors here. We got our dark color first, and like I say, you can still work while the dark color is wet. That's totally fine. In fact, usually it works out better that way. And I'm actually going to hit the bottom and create sort of a crescent moon shape within the light there. Same thing here. Boom. Do a dot. These guys are so small that just a simple dot will get away. Will go over just fine, I should say. Cool, so that's the medium blue, and I'm just going to finish it off. Lothern, a very light one. Bing, 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 like I say, simple dot in this case. Bing, bing. That's how easy it is to paint glass. Alright, and the rear lights are actually even easier. So I've just got here some Fiston red, and literally I'm just going to paint them red. Nothing special. If you get a little bit overboard, just wipe her off. Oh no. Again, we don't want to mess up the paint job we already did on the other colors. That sucks. I'm going to have to touch that up later. Okay, no problem though. Let's get a little bit of red there. There, and there. There, there, there. Bam. No problemo. In fact, just the final touch on all of the lights is just a simple white dot. Just to create that bling, that little bling of light that it's going to reflect off the glass pretty much always. And in fact, if you shine them in the light, it will actually show you where to put that bling. Just like that. It's that easy. Now the only detail I have left to do is to repaint my tires black, because we've got all kinds of silver and rust and all kinds of things all over them. And like now their tires are completely painted, there's literally only one more thing to do. The pièce de résistance, the candles on the cake, glass varnish. And we're not going to coat these whole guys in it. We're basically just going to use it for the glass. Like I said, we've created now a nice glare. What we're going to do is actually make it shiny. And this stuff you can literally just take right out of the pot. No big deal. Just like the blue, Just make sure to try not to get too much onto your, well, whatever's not the window, the green, the silver, whatever other colors you've used. And there you go. You can see there, I'll shine it through. Nice and shiny. So when these dry, these will look like sweet windows, because you can see on the side here, kind of like have an opaqueness to them in the light, whereas this guy is just like blam, bling blang. So there they are, boils and ghouls, our finished team for Gaslands. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Basically, that is it. Super simple way to paint your vehicles and still make them look awesome. I mean, straight up, that looks wicked cool, doesn't it? So good. And you know what? You guys probably saw that in like half hour or 40 minutes or so, and it actually took about 4 hours. So that's really not that bad. I mean, literally, you just painted enough to play the game in like half a day. Like literally on a Saturday, you could get up in the morning, eat your breakfast, do your base coats, do your washes, let them dry, you know what I mean, eat some lunch, go on to all the sponging, all the details, and honestly by dinner you are done a Gaslands team. So that's it. So I'm loving this game. Honestly, Gaslands has been so much fun without ever actually playing the game itself. I've had so much fun getting into this because basically you get to play with toys again. Just throw some of the bits you already have on them, paint them up as quick as I've just shown you, and what do you know? You have an amazing, amazing looking collection, usable on the tabletop within a day. I mean, really, you could assemble and paint this entire 2 weeks of videos that I've shown you in probably one day, at least in a weekend. Like I say, Gaslands has been a pleasure. I love getting into these games that allow you to convert and do kind of what you want. As you guys know, I'm a conversion freak, so Gaslands has just been amazing so far. And we're going to be heading out to Hamilton to visit our friend Nick very soon and play a bunch of games of Gaslands with him. So hopefully there'll be some battle reports in the near future. If you guys want to check out those battle reports, please hit the subscribe button. It goes a long way to help us here. And if you want to like and comment, we'd appreciate that too. I would love for you guys to tell me how you've painted your vehicles, and maybe you have way better techniques than I have. I am not a professional painter. I'm just quick, dirty, make it look good. You know what I'm saying? Also, if you really like our content, we have a Patreon campaign too. So just jump to the description below, check out that, and it'll give you a whole bunch of extra perks for even as little as $1 a month. You get videos early, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff that comes along with it for being an Encounter Wargaming patron. There are a lot of bonuses. So check it out. Simple dollar goes a long way to help us here. Just, you know, keep the lights on, keep everything running, you know, all the costs that come with a YouTube channel. So you can help us out that way, or jump to our Spreadshirt page and purchase a t-shirt. I mean, literally, if you don't have money to give us every month, you don't want to be part of the Patreon program, that's totally cool. If you want to just help us out, jump on, buy a t-shirt. You get a really good quality shirt with our logo on it, and it just helps us out with a couple of bucks, you know what I mean? Maybe buys us a pot of paint. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys are looking forward to all the Gaslands material we're going to have coming up in the near future, and we'll see you at our next event.
Like a monkey in a rocket on his way back home. Okay.